Blackberry lemonade ale. And hey, kind of matches my jersey. Well, it's a super hyper local beer, and this is a super hyper local baseball team. So, what do you say we continue this Steel Hands Appreciation Week with their seasonal springtime? I know it's fall when you're seeing this, but that's alright. They last, they're good anytime. Every season is whatever insert style you like beer season. So let's see what Blackberry Lemonade's all about in beer form right after the theme song. Welcome on back into the Midland studio as per usual with your host, Nutmeg 2 Palmetto. And, like I said, this beer does actually kind of match my jersey. And it really, honestly, it really only matches it because the Lexington Blowfish are only the glowfish when they light off fireworks after the games over the course of the summer. So there's that little fun fact tidbit for you. This one, these are their special seasonal releases for springtime. And I know, again, I know it's fall when you're watching this, but it's okay. Something light and fruitful is good any season, am I right? So last year, they did this as a blueberry lemonade ale. And I thought that was just absolutely to die for. The color was so bright. It was pink purplish kind of. It just was an eye catcher, really, and then the flavor was an eye catcher too. So when they announced the flavor they're doing this year, I had to rush out and get this. And I actually did get this a little earlier than it released because I happened to be at Steel Hands with my guy Eddie, which, as you know, solved the clock tower stuff on the computer. We were down there to brew a beer for his establishment. And we stopped in by Steel Hands. He let in because he was tight with one of their former sales representatives to let us in, and we were chopping it up. And Tanner hooked me up with a couple of these, a 6-pack of these, or a 5-pack or 4-pack. It wasn't a full 6-pack, I think it was 4 or 5. But he hooked me up with some of them before the actual release. So those, and I liked it. I definitely liked last year's more, but this one's still pretty good. So we're gonna try this together so you folks can see what it's all about as well. It is a very low crusher. It's only 4.5 ABV. As you can imagine, with it just being a wheat ale of sorts, it has a low IBU count of only 12. It does have, with it being a seasonal, of course, and this being the first year they did this particular one, it does have a very low amount of check-ins, 371 total, 344 unique, 317 rankings for a pretty middle-of-the-road 3.57. There is actually, despite not having a bio on tap, there is a little bio on the can. Brewed with the famous Cayce wheat yeast. This beer was fermented on blackberries for a great berry aroma. It pours a beautiful hazy wheat beer and finishes very dry in part with lemon juice blended in at the final stage. A perfect way to break out of the winter blues and spring forward. That's actually funny that it ends that, considering that I'm doing this review for October and winter's about to start. So maybe in our case today, it'll just be a little bit of holding on to warm weather before the temperature really falls off the cliff. Don't you fall off the cliff? Stay right here. Let's not waste any more time and crack this open. Oh, powerful cook indeed. Alright, let's top that off. Look at that. Check the head out. It's big, white, and fluffy. Fluffy, soapy type of head. I can smell this already. The color is pretty clear. The light's getting through there very easily. I mean, it does have a little bit of cloud to it, but for the most part, it's fairly what's the word for see-through but light in terms of light. It's got a bit of a peachy, apricot, orangey, pink hue to it, I would say. Oh, this is okay. You know what? I know we're supposed to drink beer fresh, but the aroma on this is so much stronger right now than it was when I first got it. It is a big, bold blackberry aroma. Yeah, that's way stronger. That is way stronger than when it was fresh. So, and it's always interesting to see, like, as long as it's not something like an IPA that you don't want to age, things that you have a little bit more leeway with, it is kind of interesting to see how they change with a little bit extra time in the fridge. Anyway, that's definitely a different nose, so let's see if the palate's any different, yeah? Interesting. There definitely is a little bit of a change from the first time. Let's talk about it. So, it definitely tastes a little bit more stringent, maybe for lack of a better word, than fresh. It feels like, the body feels like it's a lot more thinner than it was right when it was fresh off the line. The other thing I noticed is that blackberry, it's not as sweet as the aroma, but it's still just as present. Maybe not as big and bold because the aroma was so big and bold, but it's definitely still strong and very noticeably present on the flavor. It just has more of a stringent kind of grainy, weedy type of flavor or essence, as opposed to the aroma, which was more sweet. And I actually like this, having held it for a little while more than fresh, because when it was fresh, to me it just tasted like your generic run-of-the-mill wheat ale, or Hefeweizen, or something like that. It was very, very clovey. Whereas this, the adjuncts they put into it are coming out a lot more, and that's why I was kind of taken aback. Well, not really taken aback. I don't want to say disappointed, but a little disappointed when I had it fresh. Like, this isn't as good as the one they did last year. So that kind of disappointed me a little bit, but drinking this now after an extra few months or whatever, it's definitely a lot more flavorful. And it doesn't taste like it goes bad, it doesn't taste like the hops are bad or anything like that. So I think that this actually did improve with a little bit of age. Now, it wasn't that much age. I did this in March or April, and I'm drinking this at the end of August, so it's not like I've been holding it that long. But even just that little extra few months or whatever the case may be, whatever that adds up to, even that was enough to let it break out and breathe a little more, and in my opinion, improve it a little more. Now, if you're the type of person that likes your wheat beers to be more clovey, more floral, that sort of thing, you probably would have liked it better fresh. But for me, if you say it's got all the fruits in there, I want to taste the fruits, and I can smell and taste the fruits a lot more with this one. So I'm a lot bigger fan of this one after a few months than when it was fresh. Anyway, I like to think I'm a pretty fresh guy. If you like what I do, head on down below, see that subscribe button if you're not already, hit that and work my count up, and see the notification bell right next to it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that to know exactly when all my content releases, whether that's beer or otherwise. If you're watching on Rumble, hit the follow, smash the follow button, work my subscriber count up on that platform as well. And if you're watching on YouTube and you like wheat beers, head on down in the comments. The first one pinned below has a link to a playlist of other wheat beers I've done in the past. And until the next time, I've done 2 Steel Hands beers, and they're both very different. The third one is going to be even more different. Cheers, friends. See you next time.